So I had some ideas on what I wanted to talk about today from last week and thinking of adding to the videos before, and then boom, did a webinar 4 days ago, spoke to a group of 50 to 60 practice owners up in Canada about the 3 roles of your front desk, right? So hence the name of this talk. I have spoken on the 3 roles of the front desk in the past, and there is a video with that title. So if you scroll back and you want more context, because I'm not really going to get into that today, but if you want more context about the 3 roles of your front desk, then make sure and search back for that video, because I have spoken with that. It was interesting. So for once in my life, I stopped talking early and I said, let's take some questions. And I made sure we left time for questions. And I'm always glad I do, because people are going to ask questions that are going to apply directly, so we can take the content, apply it directly to you. And then there's probably 5 to 10 other people in the group who had the same question. So I like to attack questions as they come along. And so we did that. And then at the end, questions came, and we didn't end until all the questions got answered. So I was stoked about that. So that was success number 1. Success number 2, and how we got to today's title, was someone asked me. Now, mind you, this is 2021, my friends. It was an online webinar. So I saw nobody. I saw my face. I saw the host's face. I saw my slides. And then at the end, my slides went down and it was me and the host taking questions. I'm going to be honest, going forward, that is not my medium of choice, right? I want to be in front of people. I want to engage. I want to see your faces. I want to see how people are responding to the content, right? And you can gauge the room, engage the audience. So all I had to go off was the questions and how they were asked. So we broke the roles of the front desk down into their 3 roles, and we really focused on the voice of the company, which is the sales role of your front desk. And I talked about how we do a poor job distinguishing those 3 roles. It was important to go back to the office and separate these 3 roles. And I talked about the sales role a lot, right? Someone who drives your business, someone who drives the entry point to your business, someone who puts business into the books, onto the books, and then make sure the business arrives and pays, right? So a integral part of your business and your healthcare team, starting a patient's journey to success. So your front desk person, as does everybody in the business, right? Or practice or clinic or office, everybody plays a role in patient success, which leads us to business success. So really those should be running parallel. So if you think about the entry point to the business and the voice of the company, the person taking the phone call, the person getting the web forms, the person following up with the Facebook ads, the person dealing with the walk-ins, the person managing fax referrals, whatever it is, that person is huge cog in this wheel of patient and business success. Okay, let's set that context. That was the context for the webinar. Let's go back and think of just a front desk person. So I want you to think of this question I'm going to tell you I got asked. I want you to think of it in the context of, I'm hiring a front desk person. And I want you to think about it in the context of what I just described to you, the entry point to your business, the patient and business success entry point, the person who basically owns the front door, owns the velvet rope, right, at your business, right? They determine who comes in and out. And the reason I say this, and it may sound like I'm overstating their role, if you don't track your inbound leads, then you have no fucking idea how much business your front desk is losing you every day. So leave it at that. And yes, that's a negative, but that's the way you've got to look at it. So it's, oh, I don't track leads. It's got to be, oh, I track leads, right? And if you don't track leads, then I have to come at it from, you are losing business. So we don't always like to approach everything from the negative, but when you don't track leads, you are losing money and business every freaking day. So here we go again. When I ask this next question, take it in context of that person who's tracking leads, who's the entry point to your business, who is going to make sure there's no wait list, who's going to make sure everybody is scheduled with an expert, right? Blah, 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 right? That person versus a front desk person. I got asked the question. It wasn't so much how much would you pay for a front desk person, but it was this: what is the percentage? Right? It was like this because they wanted to know, right? Because everybody does salaries, right, or labor as a percentage of your cost of your expenses. So someone said, what percentage are we looking to pay this person? That was the question, and that was at the end of the talk where I really laid out the role of the voice of the company. So I said, well, each of these three people are going to be paid differently. And to be totally honest, this is where I want to get in your guys' heads. And I want you to think about this. How much would you pay a front desk person, your typical front desk person, maybe very much the person you have in your business today, who is kind of a catch-all, does all the tasks, answers new patient calls, collects co-pays, takes care of billing, calls insurance companies, versus someone who's the entry point to your business? Would you pay them differently? It is what it is. I'll tell you the issue with this question. It was, what percentage of cost will you pay this person? I said, I've never used a percentage of cost when I looked at hiring anybody. And I know there are a lot of people out there giving that breakdown, because you know what it does? It makes you look at every employee as a cost and not a revenue generator. So instead of looking at cost, everybody's going to fall into a number. And at the end, we're going to get a number. But, asking how much I would pay, what percentage of cost, right, would I pay for someone, or what percentage would I assign to this person of my total cost? And they kept saying like 30%. So I guess that's a number that people are typically given. But I said that really takes away, if you come in with that number and you're sitting across from someone who's a great salesperson, who has experience in healthcare, taking phone calls and turning people on the phone in front of them, fax leads, Facebook leads, Google ads, Google words, right? Google leads, whatever, web form leads, and takes them in and makes them into people not scheduled. That's the other issue. If you're going to hire a scheduler, right, then pay them 30%, pay them less. They are a cost center. The person I described is a fucking revenue generator. So if you're going to ask me what percentage it costs, I'm going to pay probably more than you would, because I'm not going to approach it from a cost side. I'm going to approach it from a business revenue generating side. How much revenue can this person generate for me? And I cannot do that. This is what's interesting. If you have your expenses and you have your revenue, then you know what your profit is. So a revenue generator should be driving profit. That's the way I look at the voice of the company. They're a profit generator. They're not a cost center. So again, how much would I pay for this front desk person? I would pay them as much as they're worth based on the revenue they would generate for my company, reverse engineered from the profit they would drive. So not only would I pay them, what would I pay them, right? Not how much will they cost me? What would I pay them? I might pay them less based on the amount of profit they're going to drive, and I'm going to build in a huge bonus structure. So again, even telling someone, oh, they're 30% of cost, but if I'm giving them $1,000 bonus every month, right? We got to keep all this in context. And so this is what I don't like about webinars and not being able to clarify questions and have this discussion with, because I would have loved to say to the whole room, right? How do you guys pay your front desk people? How do you figure out payment, right? Does anybody bonus your front desk, and on what, right? That is the follow-up question that needs to be occurred. So how much would you pay for a front desk person? Like I said, it depends. And they didn't like that, right? It depends. Well, is there a number? No. I said, I've never used an equation. I've never used an equation, a percentage of cost, to determine what I was going to pay someone. I know what going rate is. I ask them what they want, right? And then I say, let me run the numbers. And when I run the numbers, it's not a 30% problem. It's what will they generate in revenue? By the way, your billing team generates revenue. The face of the company generates revenue, right? Because they're collecting copays. So, right, I'm going to look at all this based on KPIs. I'm going to look at this on how the machine is running, right? That takes a lead, turns them into a scheduled client who arrives and pays, and then stays to complete a plan of care. So the better the machine is understood, the better the machine is working, the more efficient the machine is working, the more I am going to pay my front desk, the more I'm going to pay the voice of the company, the more I'm going to pay the face of the company, and the more I'm going to pay the admin or back office person. Now, when I say more I'll pay, again, I'll figure out this base salary. Jim says hello, right? But also, again, the bonus has to come into this, right? So again, pay, figure out what they can generate, look at, right? What's profit? Revenue minus expenses equals profit, right? So how much can I afford to pay them? Good, there's a good start, right? By the way, it could be a number twice as much as they want. Am I going to offer them that? Depends on the profit they will generate, right? So again, how much would you pay for a front desk person? Everybody will raise their hand and tell you how much they're paying their front desk person. And then the question is, how much would you pay? And if you don't understand your patient's life cycle, if you don't understand the 3 sales cycles in your business, if you don't understand the role each team member plays on creating patient success, then you will pay someone a flat fee and you'll give them a 3% raise every year. And you'll probably give them the other big tell. As I talk to people, you bonus your front desk? Yeah. And it's a fixed amount every month. I would never bonus people fixed amounts because I've run into more people. Doesn't mean there are people that are doing this properly might be a strong word, but I've run into more clinic owners paying out bonuses to team members in months the company doesn't make money. And everybody says, oh, I get that. But yet some of the people who say I get that are still paying out bonuses when they're losing money. So there is no fixed amount. A bonus is a percentage of profit. So, right, how much would I pay for a front desk person, the voice of the company? Well, I'd have a conversation. How much do you want? Right. And they would tell me, and then I would run the numbers and see what is a number I can afford to pay them. Then I would go forward. And that would basically be based on the business they could generate. And I may come back to them and I say, hey, I hear you want, I'm going to make numbers up here. Just make numbers up. You want $15 an hour, but I'll tell you what I'll do for you. I'm going to offer you, right, $12 an hour, $11 an hour, because I understand your role in my company. I understand your role in driving patient and business success here. And what I want to do is offer you that lower hourly because I want to give you a bigger upside. I want to offer you the opportunity, right? And I can show you what that looks like right now, to make more money per hour, per month, based on the business you're putting on the books who arrive and pay. And then that would work into follow-ups and better front-end conversations and making sure, again, that people have all the information they need, right? The 4 W's, the 5 questions, all right? All of it, it's just all in these YouTube videos. And it's been shared before. Sorry, all of it's on the YouTube page and all of it has been shared before elsewhere, right? So, and then I tell them, you know, because I've got the systems in place. So I say, look, I'll offer you $11 an hour, but your upside could be, you know, upwards of $20 an hour, right? Because by the way, I love uncapped bonuses. I love someone. I rarely see people get excited about it as much as I do. But if you're growing the business, I'm not capping your fucking bonus. So, hey, I'll pay you $11, right? To get to, by the way, here's the other important thing about this. I'll pay you $11 to get 100 people onto the schedule who arrive and pay. That's the bare minimum. That's what you get the paycheck for, right? And here's the other task you have to do. And then I'd show them the bonus structure for, you know, from 0 to 10, right? So 100, it would be 0. 100 is actually the 0 line, right? So then 0 to 10 or 1 to 10, here's your bonus structure. 11 to 20, right? 20 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus, right? Because if the business is growing and they're managing more of the incoming calls and they continue to drive the same numbers, then I'm going to keep paying out a bonus. Because why? Because it's coming out of the profit, and the profit wouldn't be there if they weren't driving that. So how much would you pay for a front desk person? It's complicated, right? Is it 30% of your expenses? I'm like, no idea. No idea. Well, can you give me a number? Nope. First question I'm going to ask you, how much do you want? How much are you paying? I'm going to say probably in the range of what you want, but I want to know what you want so I could reverse engineer the numbers to see if I can do it. And that's what I do with everybody. By the way, that's every single interview, every PT. And by the way, there may be people 20, 30, 40, $50,000 swings on their base salary. By the way, everybody's going to be bonused on completed plans of care. And that's the company wide, right? So even this voice of the company, this front desk person, they're going to have their individual KPIs, but they're going to be company KPIs that they'll be bonused on. So again, how much would I pay them, right, is an equation, and it's a process, man. But I'll tell you what, it's an easy conversation to have. Well, that's too difficult. You can't run a business like that. I'm like, no, you can. And by the way, it's the way to run a business, and it's the way to grow a business, and it's the way to drive the business, is to have that flexibility based on what the number. If they say, look, I got to start at, $22 or higher, and I reverse engineer the numbers, and like 22 would be the max, right? And remember, we're talking a paycheck every 2 weeks. I might say, look, I can give you that, but there will be no bonus. There will be no anything else. Are you okay with that? And we all know some people will, but they may say 22, and I may run the numbers and see even max every 2 weeks is $18, and we're done. But that's not based on a percentage. It's based on their skills and what they can deliver to the business, right? Let's take it one step further. A provider coming in who has relationships, who has referrals, who has a history of all that. You can approach them and do a 30% fucking math equation and go, sorry, I can't pay you. No, you wouldn't. But if you don't understand, right, the everyday numbers, if you don't understand your revenue per visit, if you don't understand your cost per visit, if you don't understand your profit, if you don't understand your capacity, you can't do this. And by the way, it's the same exact formula for everybody. So I just plug these numbers into the formula of what's already there, right? All the expenses, all the revenue based on the capacity. Do we have capacity to grow, right? I can't put someone on a bonus program if there's no capacity to grow in the current model. So this is what I like. Earlier on in your business, it's way easier to do this shit. All right. If you got a space for 2 or 3 PTs and or 2 or 3 providers, and there's only one provider there currently, or 1.5, I'm like, I'm going to find someone and probably pay them a lot more than most people would to drive the fucking business. That's their role. So how much would you pay for a front desk person? It's complicated, but it's really not. It's not simple, but it's simple. It's not easy. It's an equation. And it's not a 30% model. It's not a cost. What can you generate for me? What will bringing you into this company due to my current patient's life cycle and getting someone from a lead to a completed plan of care? If you are working in the back office and you are in charge of authorizations at an in-network contracted business, and you're ripping them out faster and better than anybody else, I'm going to bonus you, because you're making the machine more efficient. That's what scaling is all about. Efficiency. How much would you pay for a front desk person? It depends. All right. Appreciate your time and your energy again today. You guys can see, this all fits together. Again, I referenced all those things that are all in old videos, past videos. So it's all searchable. It's all searchable on the YouTube page, searchable on the old Facebook Lives. I mean, go there, right? The 5 questions. So I know the process, right? From lead to completed plan of care. I know the systems. I know what the voice of the company has to do. I know their primary task. I know their metrics of success. I know the voice of the company. I know their primary tasks. I know their metrics of success. The back office admin people, I know their metrics of success. I know their tasks. I know what the company goal is, a completed plan of care. So it's easy to sit across from anybody and have this same discussion. Where do they fit in this process, and how much efficiency can they bring to this? Cool. Any questions? Right? Just comment down below. Always happy to answer. I get back to all this stuff. This is stuff I look for. I look for the questions. I look for the replies, right? We just put that out there. So cool. You all have a great day. Post any questions or comments. I think this is a good thing to put in your head at this point. Really haven't talked about this much, right? Talked about the metrics of success, but I just mentioned the last three, by the way: revenue per visit, cost per visit, and profit. That's the 11 magic numbers. So kind of brought the 8 metrics to its completion here, but it fit in perfectly with how much do I want to pay someone? Well, if I know my revenue per visit, my cost per visit, my profit, my capacity, then I can fucking figure out anything I want. And I can pay you anything I want. I can pay you low and bonus you high. I can bonus you low and pay you high. Right? There's give and take in all this. Again, that person, I want $22 an hour. Great. And you'll never get a bonus. And then you got to deliver at this level. That's the other thing that I see never happens. People aren't told what they're getting. It's weird, man. We say, oh, my providers know their productivity level. I'm like, do they know what it takes to get their paycheck every 2 weeks? Does everybody on your team understand what it takes to get their paycheck every 2 weeks? And the better you understand those metrics, the more sure you can talk of yourself, the more sure you can be when you're looking at things, if people are getting the job done or not. Cool. All right, everybody, have an awesome day. Cheers.